Welcome back to Sairam Educational Channel. In this video, we will learn about lesson solutions from class 12 CBSE. Solutions. I think we all know that the solutions we are learning from lower classes, 10th class and below that. Solution is a homogeneous mixture of two or more components. That means I can make a solution. For example, if I take glass of water and add little amount of salt, so I will get a solution. That is called salt solution. So now in this solution we have two components. One is the salt and another one is water, H2. So 1 and 2 components. It is a two component mixture. It is a homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous means wherever you take, it represents both salt and water, and uniformly distributed the salt, uniformly dissolved in the solvent. So in this solution you have two components. One we will call it as solute, another component we will call it as solvent. Which is solute, which is solvent? The one which is in less quantity is solute. The one which is more quantity is solvent. Remember, the one component which is of less quantity in the particular solution is called solute. The one which is in larger quantity in the solution is called solvent. So this is the salt solution. And this is called homogeneous mixture. Homogeneous mixture. So a homogeneous mixture of two or more components is called as the solution. Like salt in water, glucose in water, sugar in water. But if I put sand in water, sand will not fully distribute. It will not fully mix. You will not get a homogeneous mixture. If you leave some time, it settles down. That is a heterogeneous mixture. So we can't call it as a solution. So remember, solute is a homogeneous mixture of two or more components. The component which is in lesser quantity is called as solute. The component present in the larger quantity, that is called solvent. So like this we can have solution. Types of solutions, you can have different solutions. You have gaseous solutions, gaseous, solid solutions, and you have liquid solutions. If the solvent is gas, that is the more quantity of a component. If it is gas, then it is gaseous solution. If it is a solid, more quantity, if the solvent is solid, then it is a solid solution. If the solvent is liquid, it is a liquid solution. Previously, whatever we have seen, sugar in water, it is a liquid solution. Because where the solvent is water is in more quantity, liquid form. So it is a liquid solution. All alloys, metallic alloys, they are the homogeneous mixture of two or more components. And they are in the solid state. So they are called as solid solution. The solvent is in the form of solid. All gaseous things, all gases are gaseous solutions. Because the gas, if you can take for example argon gas, it is a solution. Because the argon gas also may contain some amount of oxygen, other impurities in it, other gases in it. If it is 100% pure argon, then it is not called as a solution. But it is a mixture of that, then it is called a solution. Like hydrogen gas in argon, 8% H2, 8% H2 in argon gas, for example. So here 8% only hydrogen, remaining is argon. Argon is more, so it is a gaseous solution. So like this, we can define the solutions into gaseous solutions, solid solutions, and liquid solutions. So even gas in liquid, gas in solid, there are different varieties out of these you can still have, because the solute can be in different form. The solvent we seen, if it is a liquid solution, solvent is liquid. But the solute can be anything. It can be a solid, it can be a gas, like oxygen dissolved in water. The oxygen is gas in liquid solution. Like that we can have different types of solutions. Now the important concepts and as examination point of view we should learn is about how to express the concentration of a solution. So now concentration of a solution. You remember out of these the mostly used solutions are liquid solutions. Generally most of them are liquid solutions. So how to express the concentration of a solution? For example, I made a solution of sugar in water. So I have added 1 spoon of sugar in the same amount of water in a glass. Another one I have added 2 spoons of same spoons of sugar in another same amount of solvent water. Which is now more tastier? Obviously the second one, because here the quantity of the solute is higher but the total solution is same. Total amount of the sugar solution, sugar water is same. But here I have just added 1 spoon of sugar, here we are adding 2 spoons of sugar. So now we can say this is concentrated more than this one. Here we are telling with respect to the spoons, number of spoons. That's why when we go and get some coffee or tea also we will say that less sugar please. Because diabetic patient they will take little sugar in the coffee. That means in the coffee generally if the coffee maker adds 1 spoon, now you will reduce it to less, half of it. So that means the concentration is less now. The quantity is same, the concentration of the solute, the amount of solute added in that is less. So that's why the amount of solute in a fixed amount of solution decides the concentration of the solutions. Remember, wherever it is, the concentration represents the amount of solute present in a fixed amount of solution, fixed amount of total solution. That is the way which gives us idea about the concentration of solution. The first one, mostly used one is molarity. So molarity is one way to represent the concentration of solutions. How we will represent molarity? So molarity, the term is M. Remember, molarity is nothing but number of moles per unit volume of the solution. Number of moles of whom? You remember in a solution what we are having? One is solute plus solvent. If it is a binary solution, binary means we have only 2 components. One is solute, another is solvent. In a binary solution, the solute, the quantity of solute present in the total, that is solution. That we can say molar. How it is? Number of moles. Number of moles. What is moles? We will see. Number of moles of solute. Correct? Number of moles of solute by total volume of the solvent or per liter of the solvent. For example, if I take a liter of solution, 1 liter of solution, in 1 liter of solution, how many moles of solute present? That tells about its molarity. So you can put here the volume of the solution. Volume of the solution. Remember? So volume of the solution. If it is 1 liter, number of moles of solute per a liter of the solution is called molarity. Since I have given volume of the solution in milliliter, generally we will make it very less quantities. Milliliter is easier to handle because in 1 liter 1000 milliliters. So if I have to prepare a 250 ml solution, it is easy to use this. So that time we need to multiply with 1000. So now this is the molarity. Molarity of a solution is nothing but number of moles of solute per given volume of the solution multiplied by 1000. 1000 we have taken because we are using here is milliliters. If you are using here liter, you no need to take the 1000. Clear? So molarity of a solution in laboratory or wherever it is, you can easily prepare. If they ask you to prepare a 1 molar solution of sodium hydroxide, you take the number of moles of solute by volume of the solution. How much they are asking you to prepare? Whether if you want to prepare 250 milliliters or 500 milliliters or 1000 milliliter, 1000 means 1 liter, then both will cancel. Number of moles you add, that equal to your molarity. Now what is the moles of a solute? Moles of a solute is nothing but weight of it by molecular weight of it. Molecular weight. So weight by molecular weight. So number of moles is equivalent to weight by molecular weight. So that means weight of the solute by molecular weight of a particular solute we will be knowing. We can calculate that molecular mass or molecular weight by using its formula. Like sodium hydroxide, you can able to find out the sodium molecular mass, then add oxygen molecular mass, then hydrogen molecular mass. You will get a molecular weight of sodium hydroxide. And weight, how much quantity I have to take and mix in the given or required amount of solvent to make it the total volume of the solution. That quantity will be decided based on your molarity. If your molarity based on that, you can fix W, because molecular weight you know, volume how much you want to prepare you know, how much molar solution you want to prepare you know, so just you have to get the unknown value is weight. So that's why molecular weight, molarity is equivalent to weight by molecular weight. I think here we are not able to see, so I will just remove, I will write here. You see the molarity is equivalent to weight of solute, clear, by molecular weight by molecular weight is number of moles of the solute divided by volume of the solution, in which one, in milliliters multiplied by 1000. So that gives you the molarity of a solution. So now molarity equal to number of moles per volume of the solution into 1000. Number of moles can be written as weight by molecular weight. So this even further you can write in density also, density equal to weight by volume. So this density is equivalent to what? Weight by volume. So you can, now the weight can be represented with D and V. So density multiplied by volume, you can also take it solutes if you have the solute in the form of a liquid. Clear? So we can able to use this particular one where molarity is nothing but number of moles of the particular solute present in 1 liter of the solution, or number of moles of the particular component present in a given amount of solution, then you have to multiply with 1000 if you are taking with ml. So this way you can able better to remember, such that in examination if such questions or some problems if they can give, we can easily solve it. This is about molarity. Remember, molarity is the one which depends upon volume of the solution. Volume of the solution is changes with temperature. So that's why molarity depends upon temperature. The temperature at which you prepare the solution is very, very important. Clearly, generally we all do with room temperature. There is with a small variation of around 25 degrees centigrade the room temperature. So at that temperature, if you have molarity you are preparing, it will be fixed. If the temperature of the solution is raised, then volume will reduce, volume will change. Once the volume changes, your molarity will change. If volume will increase, so molarity will decrease. So that's why with the temperature, the molarity will vary. So molarity of a solution will be dependent on temperature. This is the one important thing we better to remember, such that it will be useful when you want to compare molarity and there is another one, molality. Okay, so this is all about molarity. This is one way of representing the concentrations of a solution. General. Next is molality. Another one is molality. This is molality. You can represent with small m. Previous one we represented with capital M. Now we can represent with small m. This molality also, it is a simple one. Number of moles of the solute per unit volume we have taken previously. Here now you take unit weight of the solution, per unit weight of the solution or mass of the solution. So molality is nothing but, once again you write number of moles of solute, number of moles of solute. Clear? Here what we have written previously, volume of the solution. Now you write mass of the solvent. Mass of solvent in grams. If you are writing grams, you put here 1000. If you are writing in kilogram here, then no need to write the 1000. So that is number of moles of solute present in a kilogram of solvent. That's about molality. So molality is, now we are telling everything in weight, correct? Here you are getting in weight. So molality, remember, whenever comes, you take the down one into the kilograms or mass. Mass of solvent, if you are taking in kilogram, you omit the 1000. If you are taking in grams, you include the 1000. Better to remember this, because most of the examples you will be provided with the mass of the solvent in grams, because it is smaller quantity. So number of moles of solute per mass of solvent multiplied by 1000 gives you the molarity. Since mass of solvent will not vary with temperature, so this quantity would not depend upon temperature. So molarity will not depend upon temperature, but molarity depends upon temperature. That's what the question comes. Why the molarity is mostly used compared to molarity, or better for representing concentration than molarity. Since molarity varies with temperature, but molarity would not vary with temperature. That's why the preferred concentration mode to represent perfectly is molarity. Okay, so that such a way we can able to understand this. So next we will go, another one is called as normality. Another important one is normality. This is another way of representing concentrations of solutions. Normality will be represented with capital N. So normality is like your molarity. You already we learned about molarity. That is what? Number of moles of solute divided by volume of the solution. That is called molar. Number of moles of solute divided by volume of the solution multiplied by 1000 we have mentioned as molarity. Now we can take this same here, number of moles of solute, instead of that number of gram equivalents of the solute. You remember what we should write? Number of gram equivalents of solute. What is that number of gram equivalent? Number of gram equivalents. So I will write here number of gram equivalents of solute. Okay, by volume of the solution. Volume of the solution. If it is in liters, you will omit the 1000, otherwise you put in milliliter and write this 1000 multiplied by 1000. So number of gram equivalents of solute by volume of the solution multiplied by 1000. Instead of number of moles of solute, now we have put gram equivalents of solute. So what should we do? Number of gram equivalents means, so number of moles we told previously, weight by molecular weight. Now here you can take weight by equivalent weight, that is number of gram equivalents. Weight by equivalent weight, weight by equivalent weight of that particular solute. That gives you number of gram equivalents. Number of gram equivalents will be weight by equivalent weight of the solute. What is the equivalent weight? That is your molecular mass divided by valency. So equivalent weight equivalent to molecular mass divided by valency. Molecular weight or mass divided by valency. That will give you the equivalent. That equivalent weight you put here in W by equivalent weight, that is weight of that particular solute, it is measured, and equivalent weight of that it will be calculated. That will give you number of gram equivalents of that particular solute. That you have to put here, number of gram equivalents of solute divided by volume of the solution multiplied by 1000 gives you normality. So this is another way of representing concentrations. Now we will see the relation between molarity and molality. This is also important. Sometimes they will ask you to change from molality of the concentration to molarity, because easier to use sometimes. As I told, molarity is the one which varies with temperature, but molality would not vary with the temperature. So we will write the relation. It is better to remember and follow it. Molality, 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 that is we will represent with small m, equivalent to, so molarity, that is capital M multiplied by 1000 divided by 1000 multiplied by D, 1000 multiplied by the D density, correct, density of the solute, minus molarity multiplied by mass of component 2, mostly solute. So this is the way we can able to represent this molarity. So molarities can be converted into molarity. If they give molarity, you can use this equation and convert into molarity. So molarity of the solution into 1000 by 1000 multiplied with the density of solution, that is gram per centimeter cube. This density we will represent with gram per centimeter cube, density of the solution, and M is the molarity, capital M is the molarity, and M2 is the molar mass of solute or component 2, mostly it is solute. So this is the equation which helps us to convert between molarity and molarity. Okay, so this is, sometimes they will give some solution and a known molarity, for example M1, and they will ask you to prepare a unknown another molarity. For example, it is 0.1. Now they may ask you to prepare 0.05 molar solution, and some quantity they will want to ask volume, and how much volume of this need to be taken and diluted to this volume. So for that you want to get V1. So the relation between these two equal to M1 V1 equal to M2 V2. If you can use this particular equation, like molarity of one solution, molarity 1 and its volume V1. If I take V1 ml of this molar solution, then I can make V2 ml of this molar solution. So molarity can be varied. So out of these 4 parameters, molarity of initial, volume of initial solution, molarity of final, volume of the final solution. Out of these 4, if they give any 3 parameters, you can able to find out the fourth one. So any 3 if they give, you can able to find out. So M1 V1 equal to M2 V2. So such a way we can able to solve the questions. We have seen what is solution. Solution, it is a homogeneous mixture of 2 or more components, and we have seen what are the types of solution based on their physical states of the both solute and solvent, or different types of solutes and solvents. And also we have seen how to express the concentrations of these solutions, like molarity, normality. We have seen molarity and normality. Molarity we have seen, this is number of moles of that particular solute by the total number of moles of the solute in a solution, which tells about your molarity, that is number of moles of solute to the total volume of the solution in liters, or number of moles of solute by total volume of the solution in milliliters multiplied by 1000, that is the molarity. Similarly, molality we have seen, that is per weight we have to take here, per kg, number of moles of solute per kg of the solution, or number of moles of the solute divided by weight of the solution in grams multiplied by 1000. And we have also seen normality, where we will take number of gram equivalents of the solute per given volume of the solution. So number of gram equivalents of the solute divided by volume of the solution multiplied by 1000. We have seen gram equivalent is nothing but its molecular weight divided by its valency. Clear? So this is the way we can get the gram equivalents, molecular weight divided by valency, that we can use and find out. These are the three different ways, and we seen this molarity varies with the temperature, because the volume term here it is available, so your volume will vary when you have different temperatures. Since the volume is varying, then you have the molarity variation, but molarity would not have any effect on temperature. So when you increase the temperature also, there will not be any change in the molarity. At any temperature you can able to find out the same. So these are the three terms we have seen: molarity, molality and normality. Let us see another mode by it is simplest way we can use for representing the concentration of solutions. That is called as mole fraction. Mole fraction. It is a fraction of the moles. Total moles. What are the fraction? It will be represented with X or J, similar to that. Okay, mole. We can write even X. So it is the number of moles of one component to the total number of moles of all the components. Clear? So now if you can take this number of moles of one component, whatever it is component, that of a component, number of moles of the particular component divided by total number of moles, total number of moles of solution. Correct? All the components of all the components of all the components. So number of moles of one component by the total number of moles of all the components gives the mole fraction of that particular component. For example, if you have two components, for example 1 and 2 components together made the solution, it is a binary solution. Then component 1, x1, that is the mole fraction of component 1, is nothing but number of moles of component 1. That is, for example, if you consider number of moles are n1 is the number of moles of the component 1 present. So n1 plus n2, these are the total number of moles of the both components. I have only two components, that is component 1 solute, for example, component 2 it is solvent, together total number of moles of that one. So this is the total number of moles of the solution. Now this is the moles of the particular component, so it gives x1. For example, if I want to total mole fraction of solvent, that is 2, second component, then what will happen? This becomes n2 by n1 plus n2. Clear? So total number of moles of the components and to the particular component moles. So it gives a fraction of that mole. So this is called mole fraction. So total mole fraction will be x1 plus x2 becomes 1. Can add up these two, then you will be getting 1. That is total mole fraction. That's what we are telling. If we have a binary, if I have two components, each component mole fraction, the sum of the each component mole fraction becomes 1. So this is another way, by using mole fraction one can able to tell. So if I have n components, you can continue n times. So here each component will be the top, all together will be the bottom. So such a way we can able to find out this mole fraction. Okay. So these are the major 4 types of units which will be used to represent the concentrations of solutions. Okay. So the next one we will see. And there are other small units which also be used mostly for representing a smaller concentrations. For example, if I have ppm, mass percentage, they are all the things which we will be used. We will see those things. The mole fraction also do not change with change in temperature. Molarity also not change with temperature. Okay. So these are the things we can use. Now we will see ppm. That is called parts per million. So that means if you take from a solution million parts, out of that million parts, how many parts are your particular component? That is called ppm. This will be used for trace elements or quantities to represent. For trace elements to represent, for example, if I take some water sample, how many parts of, for example, lead is there? Because lead will be present in these water samples very less amount, or silver, like these poisonous things. So how much of that particular quantity is available, like chemicals on a food samples, these are all will be in the ppm level, that is the quantity is very less. To identify that, we are using ppm, parts per million. Per million means 10 power 6 parts. Out of 10 power 6 parts, how many parts are there, that particular compound, that is parts per million. If it is 10 power 9 parts, out of 10 power 9 parts, how many are there, means it is called ppb, parts per billion. Parts per billion. So these are the two things we will be used generally to represent low, very low concentrations for trace element identification, that is ppm. Another one is ppb. ppm is parts per million, it is bigger one than compared to this is still smallest, because for 10 power 9 parts, 1 part, it's called 1 ppb. Here 10 power 6 parts, out of 10 power 6 parts, if I have 1 part, that is called as ppm. So these are the two things we can generally use in to find out trace quantities. Now how to, this is general, for 10 power 6 parts if you take 1 part, but if you take a quantity not even 10 power 6, a general quantity, then how we will be defining ppm, parts per million, is equivalent to, okay, understood, number of parts of the component, number of parts of the component by number of parts of the particular component by total number of parts of all the components. Total number of components, total number of parts of all the components in the solution, correct? So number of parts of the particular component, which component you want to get concentration, that particular component, by the total number of parts of all the components. For we want per million, so you multiplied with 10 power 6 parts. So for 10 power 6 parts, what is the number of parts of this, will give the ppm. So ppm, if you want to calculate from a given one, so you take the number of parts of the particular component to the total number of parts of all the components multiplied by the 10 power 6, that gives the ppm. If you want ppb, you put 10 power 9. If you are changing this into 10 power 9, you will get the ppb. So this is one way of representing concentrations in smallest ranges, correct? There is another way we generally see in our day-to-day life on the medical stores, tonic bottles or some syrups or some liquid concentrates, okay? So when we purchase, we can see all these medicines, it will be written weight by volume, like this, weight by volume, weight by weight, weight by weight, or volume by volume. You can see when you see the medicine strips or the bottles, tonics, you can find out like these symbols. So these represents mass percentage. These are the one mass percent. So the next unit is mass percent. We will see what these three. So the next unit which will be used for finding out concentrations are mass percent. Mass percent. So this mass percent is defined in different ways. One is weight by weight. Okay, one is weight by weight. Mass percent. That means total mass of the solution you take, and the particular component, what is the mass? So mass of the component by the total mass into 100 gives the mass percentage. Clear? So this mass percentage, we can write mass of component equivalent to mass of component. It is very useful to use generally. These are the things by total mass of the mass of the solvent or solution. You can take even solution. Okay, total mass of the solution multiplied by 100%. So this gives mass percent. Since both are mass will be in grams, that is weight W. By total mass also we have taken, so W by W. So this whatever value comes, it is called W by W in gram per gram. Okay. So for example 100 grams, what is the weight of that particular component is called mass percent. Per 100, if you put here 100 grams, if you are changing here any number, then you have to multiply with 100. Clear? So that's why mass percent is nothing but per 100 grams of solution, 100 grams of solution, what is the weight of that particular component? That gives your mass percentage. For example, here 1 by 20. Okay, 1 over 20 is the mass percentage here. Clear? So that is okay. Like this, we can able to find out W by W. 0.5 or 0.2 percentage. That means 0.2 grams. For example, sometimes they will write like this: 0.2 weight by weight, gram per gram. So mass percentage in weight by weight they have told. That means 0.2 grams that is present for 100 grams of the total solution. So that particular component is present how much? 0.2 grams for 100 grams of the total solution. Then we will call it as mass of the mass percentage. So like this we can able to tell mass percentage. So that is W by W, mass of the component by the total mass of the solution multiplied by 100 is called the mass percentage, that is in W by W. So if you say, if you say V by V, V by V. So V by V, then what will happen? Volume to volume. So you take this into volume. So volume of the component by total volume of the solution multiplied by 100. So then you will get mass percentage instead of mass by volume percent. This is called volume percent. Volume percent. Okay. So volume of the component by total volume of the solution. For example, if I take a 1 liter of solution, what is the volume of the component present? And to multiply with 100, then you will get the volume percentage. So this is used mostly if the both components are in liquid state. Your solute and solvent both are in liquid state, it is easy to use. Okay, so the variation will be less. With temperature the variation will be there because volumes will change, but here there will not be any variation because the mass will not change with the temperature. So we should also try to use volume percentage. So both if liquids, it is better to use volume percentage, V by V into 100. So next another one, mass by volume, W by V. You take the total component is mass and down is total solution volume into 100. That also gives weight by volume. So nothing else here. This mass of component maintained, down will be total volume of the solution multiplied by 100. That also gives you mass per volume. That is W by V. So now we have seen three. W by W both are in mass. Volume by volume both are in volumes. And one is mass, another is volume. Now we will see the relation between molarity and molality. This is also important. Sometimes they will ask you to change from molality of the concentration to molarity, because easier to use sometimes. As I told, molarity is the one which varies with temperature, but molality would not vary with the temperature. So we will write the relation. It is better to remember and follow it. Molality, that is we will represent with small m equivalent to, so molarity, that is capital M multiplied by 1000 divided by 1000 multiplied by D, 1000 multiplied by the D density, correct? Density of the solute minus molarity multiplied by mass of component 2, mostly solute. So this is the way we can able to represent this molarity. So molarities can be converted into molarity. If they give molarity, you can use this equation and convert into molarity. So molarity of the solution into 1000 by 1000 multiplied with the density of solution, that is gram per centimeter cube. This density we will represent with gram per centimeter cube, density of the solution, and m is the molarity, capital M is the molarity, and m2 is the molar mass of solute or component 2. Mostly it is solute. So this is the equation which helps us to convert between molarity and molarity. Okay, so this is, sometimes they will give some solution and a known molarity, for example m1, and they will ask you to prepare a unknown another molarity. For example, it is 0.1. Now they may ask you to prepare 0.05 molar solution, and some quantity they will want to ask volume, and how much volume of this need to be taken and diluted to this volume. So for that you want to get V1. So the relation between these two equal to M1 V1 equal to M2 V2. If you can use this particular equation, like molarity of one solution, molarity 1 and its volume V1. If I take V1 ml of this molar solution, then I can make V2 ml of this molar solution. So molarity can be varied. So out of these 4 parameters, molarity of initial, volume of initial solution, molarity of final, volume of the final solution. Out of these 4, if they give any 3 parameters, you can able to find out the fourth one. So any 3 if they give, you can able to find out. So m1 v1 equal to m2 v2. So such a way we can able to solve the questions. Thank you for watching the video.